You can see there a fairly healthy burst of storms. Hurricane hunters in there, they have found that we do have a closed circulation. Now, it's not moving very fast, and we don't think this is going to move very quickly for the next day, for today and really tomorrow. Now, we do still think this is going to become a hurricane. The National Hurricane Center's new track as of 10 a.m. Here we go. This is a brand new track that's just dropping in from them. You can see they're becoming a hurricane by tomorrow, and then this is where we could see it strengthen even more as it nears the Louisiana coast. We haven't seen any major shifts in the track with this 10 a.m. update. If anything, it's slightly further east. That's a trend that we noted with the 4 a.m. track as well. And you can see they're coming in right at Vermilion Bay and Marsh Island Wednesday evening as a Category 1 storm. Now, they have bumped up the intensity, and they're saying, and we're noting, that this could be stronger at landfall if the storm is able to grow stronger in here. So that's the main thing we're going to be watching out for as this makes landfall. Notice that includes the cone, includes New Orleans, the Bayou parishes, Baton Rouge, still all the way back to Lake Charles. So we haven't seen any significant shifts in the track, but we are certainly still on the east side of a landfalling hurricane. Once again, making landfall around a Category 1 or so, but there are some intensity discrepancies on exactly how strong this storm could go. So in our area, especially in our Bayou parishes, the closer you get to Lafayette, Morgan City, these places need to be preparing for at least a Category 2 hurricane at this point. Once again, making landfall Wednesday evening. So conditions will go downhill as we head into Wednesday afternoon and into Wednesday night especially. Luckily, it's moving. It'll be on out of here by Thursday. A closer look at that track, you can see there just south of Lafayette, there it is, Vermilion Bay and Marsh Island. That cone, though, extending all the way into New Orleans, extending all the way down into lower Lafourche. So if this storm decides to take more of an easterly track, we got bigger problems in southeast Louisiana. Of course, for us, we'd want to track further to the west, but models are really locking in on the idea just south of Lafayette for landfall of that hurricane. So preparations being done today, being done tomorrow, because by the time we get to Wednesday, I think conditions will be going downhill as we go through the day. Models are showing that this does have that potential to wrap up into a stronger storm, perhaps. If it can really tap into the right ingredients tomorrow, we could definitely have that stronger storm making landfall. This model is showing something very similar to what the Hurricane Center is showing. Landfall Wednesday. This one's a little faster, Wednesday afternoon as a hurricane right there near Marsh Island and the moving inland. Notice we're getting bands through New Orleans. Now, this is going to have some dry air and wind shear wrapping into it as it makes landfall. So hopefully that limits its ability to stay strong all the way until landfall. But one thing we're certainly going to watch out for is how this wind shear and dry air impact this storm. Now, once we get into Wednesday night, we may start to see some dry air work in, which would be a good thing. That could limit the flood risk overall. Now, winds, depending on how strong this storm gets and where the core comes inland, the winds are going to get worse the further west you head. I do think Baton Rouge and Lafayette and Morgan City are probably going to see worse winds than what we see in New Orleans. With that being said, if that core of that hurricane is intact and it moves inland and close enough to the metro, then we have stronger wind gusts. Right now, thinking 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts across a big part of the area, but even stronger the further west you get, where you could start to see wind gusts topping 70 to 80. That'll be closer to where the center of the storm is. Rainfall totals widespread, 3 to 6 inches, but I do think there will be a corridor somewhere in here near the core that pick up maybe 5 to 10 inches of rainfall. Our latest storm surge numbers are coming in as well, and some of these are quite high. We have seen these bumped up. This is going to be around anywhere from Morgan City down through Port Fourchon. That includes Terrebonne Bay, into St. Mary Parish, into Vermilion Bay. 5 to 10 feet of storm surge. That's a fairly decent amount of storm surge there that we're going to be watching for. That will be moving in on the east side of the storm. Now, storm surge from Grand Isle to the mouth of the river, that's about 4 to 7 feet. That backs up into Barataria Bay, remember. 2 to 4 feet for eastern St. Bernard, 2 to 4 feet for Lake Bourne, and 2 to 4 feet for Lake Pontchartrain and Lake Maurepas. We do have storm surge watches up for the entire coastal areas and our lakes. So storm surge is going to be higher the closer you get to the center of the storm, and right now that looks like Morgan City and down into Terrebonne Parish or St. Mary Parish is where we're probably going to see our highest storm surge with this storm. Hurricane watches are